Most Americans assume that legal punishment only follows a criminal conviction, a penalty for someone who has broken the law. But many families describe a different reality, with no jail cell, no prison bars, no criminal record, yet one that carries a heavy toll. This occurs within the prolonged litigation of the family court system. In this arena, the infinite procedures of the law are often leveraged against the strictly finite window of a child's development. Parents trapped in these cycles describe a paradox. The very procedures meant to offer a resolution instead become a prolonged experience of loss that dictates their daily lives. To see how a legal process can weigh so heavily on a family, we have to look at the individual mechanics of the courtroom. Each individual step, a single continuance or a standard evaluation, appears entirely reasonable when viewed in isolation. However, these steps eventually aggregate into a monolithic structure. A calendar once marked by family events is slowly obscured by a thicket of motions, deadlines, and mounting legal bills. This compounding pressure often creates a state of constant hypervigilance. This hypervigilance permeates the smallest interactions. Every text message is drafted as future evidence. Every exchange in a parking lot feels like a potential legal event, forcing parents to filter every decision through the lens of how it will be scrutinized by a judge. Over time, the sense of home fades. Parenting is replaced by a schedule of strict legal compliance. The rigid timeline of the court sits in direct conflict with the fluid timeline of a human life. For those inside the system, time is no longer measured in months or years. It is measured in the unrecoverable milestones of childhood. A court continuance translates to a holiday divided. A pending motion means a school year gone, or a season of soccer games watched from a distance. Biological development does not pause for a status conference. Attachment and growth continue regardless of whether a motion remains pending. This process eventually strips parents of their identity. They cease to be seen primarily as mothers or fathers, and instead become litigants, case numbers, and financial obligations. The deepest wounds here remain invisible to the law. There are no police reports for hope slowly disappearing, only chronic stress, financial exhaustion, and the erosion of the relationships that give a parent purpose. This crisis challenges the very foundation of the American legal system, the promise of due process. The Constitution aims to establish justice and secure the blessings of liberty. But for many families, the empirical reality of the court is a cycle of uncertainty that makes these rights nearly impossible to exercise. Due process in family law depends on the timing of the court. A legal resolution that only arrives after the formative years of childhood have already passed cannot protect the parent-child bond. A system that produces prolonged fear and emotional exhaustion is failing the people it was designed to protect. When the clock becomes the greatest source of loss, it is clear that justice delayed is justice diminished. We need a new way to evaluate whether the justice system is actually succeeding. Success should be measured by the health of the family and the speed of the resolution, rather than the mere completion of procedural steps. Calling for these improvements upholds the constitutional principle that government must serve with accountability and respect for the dignity of the people. Reforming these courts ensures that justice arrives while it can still make a difference for the families involved.